Waited out any minute longer. Welcome. Wednesday, 12 o'clock. I'm excited. Good to have you here. Thanks for signing up. Now, let me see where my mouse is. What did you actually sign up for? Well, today we're going to look at how to get people interested in the thing you sell. Could be a thing, could be a product, could be a service, could be software. Doesn't really matter that much because we will all get down into the details of how to get people interested in all those things during this webinar. Before we move on, if you're in the habit of taking notes during the webinar, asking questions, please write them down or share them with us, because the slides will be shared with you after the webinar. The Q&A is being moderated by Max, and at the end I have a couple of surprises for you, so please stick around and you might see what you get. All right, who is standing before you? My name is Bas Gosenwisch. In Dutch you call it out Gosenwisch. And who am I actually? So it all started being a student. I sold stuff for KPN in a store. I did cold calling. I even worked as a model. And that all happened somewhere from my 18th to my 23rd, 24th year. And it was during that moment that I actually discovered that I liked the marketing side of things, being in sales, but also being able to market to people on different platforms, because doing cold calling and doing sales in store, it taught me how to actually find out what it is that frustrates people or what it is that they're looking for, and then cater to that, right? Simply answering to the problems they have by hopefully offering things I would sell in the store. And then on a whole different aspect of marketing, I somehow ended up working as a model in front of the camera. And how is that even relevant for today? Well, because working as a model taught me how to act and how to behave for different, what I now call funnel phases. But back then, I would just get the briefing for a campaign. This is a above the line campaign for some big brand, or you are doing e-commerce images, and you have to show the use cases, how to use this product so that we will sell more of this stuff in our web shop. Then I went into custom data platforms, like doing all the infrastructure, marketing technology, the stuff you don't get to see. And then obviously I went on to the front end side of things of marketing, creating the stuff that people actually do see, or one person sees and one person doesn't. What am I talking about here? Making sure that we alter content on the front end of the website to make sure that if you visit the website more often, you get to see more of the stuff that you are actually interested in. Let's say, for a fitness example, if you're interested in, well, nutrition, instead of finding the actual exercises, we would show you more nutrition-based content. And why am I saying this? Because it taught me that it's very important, like my student jobs, to get to know your customer, but also to get to know what problems you can solve. And then from there, I went to lead generation through word of mouth, doing referral campaigns, then building ads to make sure we get more leads if we pay the platforms some extra cash. And then I learned how to nurture leads through email and even through phones. And then in the end, we also added landing pages to that. And I'm specifically mentioning these 4 lead generation tactics because this is what you'll learn in this webinar, with the exception of word of mouth, but I will touch base briefly on that. On the right, you can see that I worked for NC Media, Keukenkampioen, Digital, Shell Recharge, DSM Keukens, Google, and last but definitely not least, Oliehoorn for all the Dutchies that are into mayo. Really proud that that I can be working with these amazing clients. And I even worked with Doutzen, and that really taught me how to really go hard in awareness content. And well, that's a lot about me, and hopefully showing you why this is relevant. And now it's time for you. I think you read it. I'd like you to think of your targets. A couple of days ago, you received an email from us where we asked you to copy paste a buyer persona template, a solution set, and then an experiment backlog. Now I'm asking you to think of your targets. I know who you are. I can't speak to each and every one of you individually. So I'd like you to think of your targets. Are you looking to get more leads? Are you looking to get more sales? And if you're about to get more leads, how much do you need? How much can you spend? And then, are you in the services industry? Are you selling goods? Or are you in software? Now, before we planned this, we did a round of questions. And the typical answers that you gave us are, if we asked about the biggest challenges or the biggest problems at hand, it would be things like this. Hey, we're running Google ads, but the leads are simply way too expensive. Or Facebook ads doesn't work for our product or service. Hey, we sent out 3,000 emails and got exactly 0 meetings booked. This stuff doesn't work for me. Or we pay too much to get new leads. Like we pay 300 euros for a lead on Google ads, or we just spend 800 euros to get just one conversion in Facebook ads or even LinkedIn ads. And then we pay too much to reach 1,000 people. How do we get this to work? Or when you do get the lead, we got a lot of, yeah, my lead isn't returning my calls, or he's ghosting me and I'm emailing him. Whatever I do, I can't get hold of him. Or I'm wasting my time with leads who are looking for something way else than what we offer, which is interesting, right? Because you did convert them in the first place. Let's get down to that later. Now, a common misconception is that whenever you have leads, you're close to having sales. And the problem with that is you can contact them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they trust you or that they are convinced of the fact that you can solve their problems. And solving problems and offering solutions, that will be two of the most important things we will cover today. But first, lead generation. I mean, if you Google lead generation, you will find a bunch of things, right? You have like sales qualified leads, and then you have marketing qualified leads, and then there's warm leads, there's cold leads, there's information qualified leads, if you have to believe HubSpot, and then there's even product qualified leads. If I could swear, I would probably swear. That's a lot, right? But I think, and we believe, that we should make life practical. And as much as all these 6, 7 different lead qualifications, for the sake of this webinar, which is aimed at small to medium enterprises, we will stick to just 2 variants because you simply don't have the volume to really use all those different lead categories in a very practical way. So, 2 variants. One, a lead is someone who you have the means to contact. And then the second type of lead is the engaged lead, someone who showed interest in the thing you sell. That's it. So now that we have that straight, what's in it for you? At the end, in about 30 minutes, you will have access to a proven and tested lead generation system that has helped us and our partners to generate lots of leads, lots of revenue, and above all, getting in the leads in a predictable way that enables you as an entrepreneur as a marketing manager, as a marketeer, to actually control the amount of business you can handle. Getting in leads and then working together with your sales department. This is one of the most important things that you can have. And if you are in an e-commerce or business to consumer market, you might still be in the business of needing leads, because probably not everyone who visits your website for the first time will buy. And then the question becomes, if you retarget them, will you just offer them 10% off, begging, hey, you visited my website, please come again and please buy my stuff, here's 10% off, and then you get in the money game. So having the proven and tested lead generation system will help you. It works for e-commerce, it works for software as a service, it works for software, and it works for professional or business services. And at the end of this, you'll know the things you need to do, and then you can decide on your own whether you want to apply the knowledge to creating better ads or to creating better outbound. In layman's terms, doing LinkedIn outreach, doing email outreach, or heck, even if you want to call people from your network, you know what it will take to get down and trigger those people to actually listen to what you have to say, and even better, get them interested in the thing you sell. That puts you in control so you can grow your business. And I haven't mentioned AI yet, but at the end, I will share some goodies with you that I think will prove valuable to you, just as they prove valuable to us. This is not something that we created just for the sake of this webinar. It's something that we use on a daily basis. And I'd like you to have it also, because if you don't work with us, I would still like you to succeed. And if you're succeeding then, awesome, leave us a review. If not, call us for help. Now, there's a difference, right, between leads and sales. And the question is, I asked you about your targets, and I'd like you to remind again, think by yourself, what is it that you need most? And if you do know what you need most, awesome, write it down. Are you making your targets? I'm asking you specifically. Look back on previous quarter. Look back at your quarterly review. Did you make targets? Did you overperform? Or did you maybe underperform? Sucks, right? We have those situations as well. We're still humans. I'd like you to think for a moment all the steps from getting in touch with someone all the way to getting a transaction from your new deal or a transaction from your new customer. What are the biggest steps that you can take and the customer has to go through before you have that transaction? You can chop them up in a couple of KPIs. Like here, I made an example: sessions, leads, appointments, offers, and then obviously the count, like the number of transactions that you have, right? So the absolute number shows, well, the count, the score, and all the different steps show the drop-off. I think we are all familiar with a conversion funnel. Now, the thing is, if you are growing at the pace and at the rate that your target requires you to do, then, well, awesome, right? Probably you set too low targets, because if you're making them, either it goes really well or you're not being ambitious enough. And the question really is with you, right? How fast would you like to go? What we generally do is we get the main KPIs from our clients, and then we write them down. How many sessions do you have? Or how many outreach do you do? How many inbound do you get? You can get the actual stats for lots of conversion funnels, but you do need to know what the conversion steps are. If you have the actual, some call it like the as is situation, or, well, as is situation, And then you can think of, is a 10% conversion rate from sessions to leads good enough? If it is, then fine. But if you believe that your offer is so damn good that you should be able to convert even 12.5% or maybe 15%, write it down in your gap analysis. Oh, by the way, we will share the template to this specific sheet with you after the webinar. If you already have this and this is easy work for you, good job. If you don't, pay attention because this will really help you. Find out how much you want to improve each metric in order to get to your new goal. So in this example, we have 110,000 revenue with an average order value of 275. For that, we need 400 transactions. And then if you calculate all the way down, we need 30,000 sessions. It's up to you to find out where to get those sessions, from paid, from outreach, or from PR, SEO, organic, you name it. And then when you have improved your metrics per funnel phase, this template will give you a stats target outline. It will show you that if you want to double your revenue, you basically have to, let's see. Oh, I see something actually went wrong here in the steps targets calculation, because I see that the stats targets actually show you that you have to do 5 times more sessions and 2 times more revenue. I will repair that before I share it with you, but the concept is clear. The template will show you if you improve each funnel step by X%, then this is the required targets that you have to aim for with your ads, with your outreach, with your emails. And the question then becomes really, how many do you need of each step? And per step, what did it actually cost you to get it? The way you can track that, I promise you, we will get into the details on how to do it later. Fill out your count per funnel step and fill out your costs per funnel step. In other words, fill out your performance metrics and fill out your unit economics. This is important because you need to know where your bottleneck is before you can move on. Now, homework for you, write down your performance statistics and unit economics. How much leads, how much sales calls, how much transactions, how much repeat purchases. If you're an e-com, what did it cost you? So take all your costs divided by each funnel step and see what the metrics say, and then do it on a month-to-month basis. This way, you will create an overview that will help you being a marketeer, a manager, an owner, even if you're an agency. This will help you to communicate and pinpoint where you need to improve your numbers. If you are interested in hearing more about this stuff and you're like, well, Bas, sounds all about well, but how do I actually do this for my own company? Scan the QR code for a free 15-minute power session. If you scan this, you won't have to type a thing. A message to Stijn will go directly from your WhatsApp, and we will be in touch with you to settle a meeting. All right, let's get down to it. What we hear a lot is that we analyzed, we saw that X, and the reason for it is that this thing didn't work. And you know what? There's a complication because, well, we did this one thing in the ads and it didn't really work out, but we know that the competition is doing X. So we have to improve our offer. Like, just tell me what to do, right? Don't talk too much. Don't nag too much. Just find it out and tell yourself or tell your client or tell your department, tell your manager what to do. So you can divide tasks and assign responsibilities. Because really, when you fill out this, let me see, this document here, and you know how much leads you have, you know how they drip down through the conversion funnel, and you know what it cost you, more often than not, what we discover is nothing is broken. You just need to do a lot more of them because the numbers don't lie. It's a numbers game. And then if you pour in enough leads, you will get sales. And if you need more leads and you're like, where can I get them? Well, you have Google Ads, you have email tools that help you send mass outreach on scale. You have Kamer van Koophandel, Chamber of Commerce, where you can actually get lists of companies who you can contact. You can do a referral campaign, get people to talk to each other if you're in B2C. You can do meta campaigns. This goes for software, B2C and B2B. You can use Bing ads if you're looking for more senior people. That counts for, I think, 10 or 15%. I lost the exact statistics. 10 to 15% of all laptops being sold. And then I said laptops, but I mean personal computers, right? And then you have LinkedIn, where you can do LinkedIn outreach or where you can do LinkedIn ads. But really, like I said, usually when you figure out the numbers and you get down to it, the conclusion is you're not doing bad, probably. You just need to do way more of it. And if the reason is like, yeah, I'm growing my business through referrals, mond-op-mond reclame in Dutch, right? Obviously, that quality will be way higher because they like you, they trust you. You have a shared connection that does the heavy lifting for you. But really, if you're into getting cold people to convert, you just probably need to do more of it. Like we said, common beliefs. We've got the leads. Why not sales? Yeah, this is where it's got interesting. Every day, mobile phone users are scrolling about 160 meters on their phone daily. Can you believe that? Can you also imagine how much crap we have to handle and process? And then on top of that comes your advertisement, or on top of that comes your email, or on top of that comes your webinar. I am competing with Facebook, Netflix, all the other things you can do on your mobile phone, Slack, email, calling, right? The thing we are supposed to do with our mobile phone. So you have to cut through the noise. And like Robert Cialdini already established, people are very receptive to social proof, commitment, reciprocation, authority, urgency and scarcity, but also likability. Because from his book, Influence, the main message is that people buy from people who they know, like, and trust. And every guru says this, right? But what do you actually do with this? Now, if they don't know you, they don't trust you, and they probably don't like you, what do you do to get them to know you? What do you do to get them to trust you? And what do you do to, well, on the way there, start to like you? Because in the end, they don't really care about you. They care about them. The thing they're thinking is, what's in it for me? And they're right. So we have to prove our value to them by introducing the value ladder. A model at Sprinter Sneakers we use is when you have a white paper download or a gated video that you're watching, we often think that we got this customer, we got this. They're interested in our stuff and they're gonna buy. Well, in fact, if you look at it from a time perspective and a skepticism and trust angle, we are actually on that first touch still very much on the skepticism side of the spectrum, how a customer perceives us. But as time goes by, we can do stuff here and here. So black means a customer has a question. Hey, how do I get a beach body? Well, you answer with a SEO blog. This is how you get it. Okay, but then how do I actually do it, right? Because a listicle or a blog article, it doesn't really cut it. Okay, well, here's an email that shows you a 5-week program tailor-made for men who want abs. Just follow it and see what the results are. And if you do this, you could also do it for B2B. First, you offer a white paper. The white paper is a lead magnet that shows the value and shows specific steps on how to solve specific problems. But when these problems are solved, probably new problems will arise. And when you know of them, you can solve them by adding more content, adding emails, doing a webinar recording, just like this one, and then following up with an email flow, because in this webinar, you get to hear lots of information within 40 minutes. And then you're like, well, I mean, all sounded okay, maybe even altruistic, but how does this really work in real life? Well, that's where our email flows comes in, right? We will share with you the templates. We will share with you the how to do's. And really, when you can't implement them yourself, sure, call us. This is how we like to treat all of our partners' clients. And building this value ladder requires you to know the problems that your customers are facing. So you need to find a problem to solve. Then dissect the problem in all bits of tiny pieces you can find. Because if you dissect the problem into very little problems that each need solutions, right? Each step of that problem is your way in. You can write emails, you can do advertising strategy, you can do courtesy calls by calling your prospects to helping them out. And helping them out is really one of the most important messages if you do want to note down anything. It's not about selling something to a consumer or a company. It's about helping them solve their problems. And you just happen to have the product, service, or the software that, well, solve that problem. So specific problems, they call for specific solutions. And when we first we're talking about, sometimes you just need to do way more of it, right? Adding paid ads, do more outreach, get more sessions on your website, increase your organic sessions from like 200,000 per month to 200,000 per year to 2 million per year, right? And then when you have these goals, more becomes just a tactic of planning, strategizing, and producing a lot. Sometimes you need to do better. And by doing better, it means becoming better at pinpointing the problem that a customer has. And pinpointing a problem sometimes means pinpointing a frustration. And when those frustrations persist, frustrations become fear. And when you know both of them, you can very much get those frustrations and get those fears, turn them around into something positive, and that is your hook. So two things, right? Do more, add more to your output, focus on the output. Are you doing your ads? Are you reaching the right amount of people in Meta ads? Are you getting the impressions you need in Google ads? Are you sending the emails you should send? And then do it better means, do we have the best creative? Do we have the best audience? Are we actually doing audience testing? If you don't have a list of 20 audience tests for your Meta ads platform, as an example, you have to get to work, because either you as the owner have to get to work, your agency has to get to work, or your digital marketeer has to get to work. Because the best companies, they just do a lot and they test a lot to become better at what they do. And I'd like you to have that same attitude of growing your business, getting more leads, converting those leads to more sales calls. So homework 2, write out your buyer persona. What are their biggest frustrations? What are their biggest fears? Where to write this out? Like I said before, you have received an email, I think a week ago, maybe 3 days ago, where we shared with you the template we use to write out that buyer persona by headlines, to really pinpoint what keeps them up at night, so you can turn that around and turn it into your proposition. Example, an online fitness trainer, his offer is, well, I do custom macronutrient split, you get a tailored muscle growth program, I will track your body fat percentage, we will do monthly check-in calls. But the client maybe thinks, counting calories, oh my God, like really every day, what should I eat? Because can't cook. And how about prepping for work? You know, I go to work, I sit in the car. What do I do to make sure I comply with those macronutrient splits? What you then can do is revise your offer, right? Because what's happening here is that your initial offer is very product centric. It's like, well, you get this and you get this, and I will deliver this. While the client thinks, remember, what's in it for me? How do I solve my own problems? How do I count? What should I eat? And how do I prep for work? So you revise the offer, right? Kept it very simple here. Instead of calorie tracking, tell them I made you a custom grocery list. If you go to Picnic, you can go to Picnic. If you want to go to Albert Heijn, I will make sure to add Terra and Albert Heijn own brand to it to make sure you are done in the most economic, viable way. And to add to that, I will give you 20 easy 10-minute or less recipes that will help you to create what you need to eat, always under 10 minutes. And then on top of that, I will add 5 additional lunch meal prep recipes that will allow you to stick to your meal plan, even if you're in the car, even if you're in between meetings. Now, this is a very simple solution and very specific problem, as you can see. What I'm asking you, action number 3 by heart, create solutions to your clients' problems. Find out their problems and then craft solutions. Please don't go brainstorming all by yourself and then be like, this is the problem of my client. Do your research. Check Reddit, check Trustpilot, check other kinds of forums you can find. Go to your client list, whether you're on B2C or B2B, and call clients that haven't bought from you or stopped buying from you for quite some time. Call them, check in with them, ask them if the problems they had when you got to know them are solved and how they solved it. If they solved it without you, continue asking, because this is where the secret probably is. They will tell you what you should have done to keep them. And if that's the case for them, it will probably be the case for many other leads. This information is a true goldmine. Speak to your customers and speak to your lost customers and write down what they say very carefully. Do not summarize. Use the exact same wordings as that they do. And then when you wrote those wordings down, you can build your new ads. You can build your emails. You can use those pain points as a first line in your ad, email, or landing page offers. What we did for a partner of us, they had no landing page conversions through Google Ads, like 0.1%. It was really bad. And we pointed out that they were offering a too generic solution to a very generic problem. They were in the IT industry. So we narrowed it down to a very specific problem, and we followed a tutorial. This is not part of the goodies after the presentation. If you would like to receive the how to write highly converting landing pages for any business document, please reach out to me or someone from the team, and we will be in touch with you about getting this tutorial. This is an internal document. Now, the outcome, we created a new landing page that complied with GLD, that complied with consumer psychology, basic elements of consumer psychology. And then the result was we got more than 1,000 downloads at a non-branded. That means people who aren't looking for the brand, but people who are just looking for a general solution, like how to get fit, but then in the IT industry. And we got a 16% conversion rate from every click that clicked on our Google Ads. Another case, one of our clients had way too many sales calls that ended up not being a match. He would call 6 to 8 times per week, and the conclusion would be I spoke to the client for like 60 minutes, and they were not looking for the thing I was offering. And sometimes it was, well, we didn't speak to the people that were in the decision-making unit. So I'm wasting my time here. They have to internally pitch my idea, and they will probably be never as good as pitching what I have to sell as I would do it myself. What we did there is we went to the unit economics. Remember that that overview of how many leads do I have and how much did it cost me. We filled out all the metrics with the most recent data, and we saw that we were getting in leads at a low rate. We were at cheap cost, and we were getting the sales calls also at quite cheap costs, but we also saw that they were getting cheaper. So somehow the unit economics went down if you looked at budget, but lost time for our partner went up. What we did is, oh, by the way, we spent like 5 hours of looking back sales call recordings. We asked them to record, and then we analyzed, and the conclusion was we need to add a discovery call, a get to know you call, let's get acquainted call, before we go into the actual strategy or the demo call. And the 4 main questions that we needed to answer in the discovery call is, are you a decision maker? Do you have a challenge? And do you have the budget? And do we have a solution to your challenge within the budget? That's basically it. And then the framing becomes important, and that's where we use sales scripts. I would advise you to have sales scripts or conversion scripts as well. So we implemented a discovery call, and the results are, oh no, look, I switched up slides here. The result is 3 months later, we saved him 6 hours per week and plus 50% in proposals sent, relative uplift. And that means that we were getting way more efficient because 6 hours, you can do a lot of those. You can do a lot in those hours. What I'd like to ask you is evaluate your campaigns. Are they really cutting through the noise? Evaluate your hooks. Evaluate your content. Evaluate your sales processes. If you are in B2C, check out if you're offering people helpful content so that you solve their problems even without buying your product. If you're in B2B, show people how to solve their problems even by not buying your service. Just like we are aiming with you right now by giving you the templates, giving you the scripts, telling you what to do so that you can do this on your own. It's not a secret. Well, it is, but now you can have it. And if you can't make it to work because practice makes perfect, and we practice a lot, then that's where you can come in and join us. But please evaluate how well are you really pinpointing the problems that you think your customer has, and how well are you in writing angles that really show how you can help them with a solution you offer. Now, what have we actually done? We started with finding a buyer persona, finding out what the most pressing problem of your audience is. Then we went down to creating solutions to those offers and be very specific about this. If there's granular problems that make up a big problem, write them down all. And after you wrote them down all, create specific solutions, write them out, keep it concise, and those specific solutions, those are your angles. Those specific problems, those are your angles to get a foot in the door. And I haven't spoken about AI yet. Okay? First, make sure that after this webinar, if you haven't done so already, create a template of the buyer persona, the solution set, and the experiment sheet that we already shared with you. If not, we'll share it with you because you will have this slide deck. You can copy it yourself. After that, make sure that you use AI to really make personas that are fed by everything that's, well, searchable on the internet, right? How do you build a persona using AI? Don't just ask them, hey, build me a persona for this audience. Be specific, because quality of your input affects quality of your output. So this is a prompt specifically made for building and crafting powerful personas that you can turn into solution sets, which is why you format it as a table that you can use to improve your campaigns. that you can use to improve knowing what keeps your customer up at night. Second, if you're like, but hey, I was very easy with saying, well, evaluate hooks, evaluate content. You could be asking yourself right now, but how? How do I evaluate? How do I find or how do I improve the hooks or content? That's what we have the hooks testing schedule prompt for. As an example, you could create a testing matrix by listing meta ads formats. You could, instead of meta ads, insert search ads formats, add in creative angles, add in a copy angle, prioritize and format as a table for a lead generation e-commerce for selling info products. It will spit out the thing you see at the right. And what I truly hope is that after this webinar, you do the 4 action points, you do this AI-powered persona and hooks testing in order to make sure that you improve every unit economic in your conversion funnel so you can grow your business. Now, let's go back to the beginning. A proven and tested lead generation system consists of finding the problem you need to solve. And don't be nitpicky about, don't be easy on this. Be very nitpicky on this. If you think you have it boiled down and nailed it down to the detail, but you're not getting in enough leads, go back, refine your persona, refine your problems, refine your solutions. If you have that, make sure that you actually pick problems and solutions that go for your e-commerce clients, your SaaS clients, or your services business, or whatever you name it. Then decide if the message, the solution, and the problem, the way you pinpoint it, you point it out, matches the format of the platform you are reaching out to. If you create an ad, you show it on meta ads, you don't copy paste that ad into a WhatsApp message if you're reaching out to leads, right? So adjust your message to the platform that you're using to get in touch with your leads. And then finally, stick to the metrics. Fill out your sheets, fill out the numbers, and fill out the unit economics. So you know on a week-to-week, day-to-day, maybe a month-to-month basis, where your funnel is leaking most. And if you know where it is leaking, you know where to improve. And finally, obviously, make sure that you add ChatGPT to your tech stack, because this will massively increase your output and massively increase your creative output before you even start thinking of your creative campaigns. Now, summarizing the action points. Write down your performance stats and unit economics. How much? What did it cost? And do it by month. Write out your buyer persona, main frustrations, biggest fears. Create solutions to those problems. Remember, specific problems require very specific solutions. After you solved one problem, a new problem will arise. And that is your way in email, follow-ups, follow-up calls, messages, advertising, you name it. Create campaigns that cut through the noise. Do hooks testing. Do content testing. Evaluate your sales process if there's manual work in the conversion funnel steps. Do creative testing. If you don't have a list of what ad formats, creatives, or angles to test, go back to the drawing table, write them out, and then execute. This was it. I hope this has proven valuable for you. Last but not least, this is your one-time offer to get 10% discount on our early bird tickets for the festival. The 30th of August, we will have Sprint Sneakers Festival Edition 3 at the Thuishaventerrein, and I'm really looking forward to meet you all there. I will leave this on for those that are still getting their mobile phones to scan the QR code. But in the meantime, the next slide is about Q&A. And I am looking at Max, if we have questions to be answered. I'll just give them a minute. Are there any questions, Max, or is everything clear? Awesome. What is our least successful experiment? Well, I think we have a couple of them, right? The ratios, I guess, 2 fails, 1 win on average. Let me think of this because there's so many projects. Yeah, so I think we had a copywriter write out long form content for an ad on Meta. And at first, we saw that engagement went up, like from 2% in the short form to 30% in the long form. So we got, and long form, I mean, like you have this Facebook ad that you see, and then you click on read more, and then bam, like a whole piece of text arises. And at first, we thought that this is good because we're getting in interactions at a very low cost, but we didn't know for sure. What we did do is we made the copywriter write in lots of content, and that content takes up quite some time to write out, right? Because we have to pay for it. And in the end, it turned out that it was just engagement, not so much more clicks, not more conversions for this specific project. So in the end, we ended up spending like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of copywriting time on an ad campaign of which we thought we improved, but in fact we didn't. That sucked, actually. And then maybe one other example. We redid a landing page, and at first we saw that conversion rates went from 0.39, so 0.4%, to almost 1%. So we more than doubled. But in the end, in the next month, a competitor came up bidding for the same keywords, and we couldn't compete with their offer. So yeah, that I think if we look back and had done our homework better by looking around what does the market look like, and what does the market look like looking at competitor offers, then we could have probably known that the competitor offer would come back because there was some seasonality in it, and then maybe we wouldn't have spent all those resources to rebuild a landing page. And in one case, we switched off awareness campaigns, and somehow it didn't affect the conversion campaigns, while we were actually spending quite some money budget on the awareness campaigns. But that test pointed out that probably the awareness campaign will have its lasting effects long after you did it for a very long time. So probably the testing period was too short, but that was also a big no-no because we expected big things of that. Yeah, that's the most recent experiments that failed. Let's see, do we have more questions? Can you describe a time when you, all right, so the question is, can you describe a time when you implemented a growth strategy that significantly increased user acquisition and retention? Yeah, so we have a couple of examples here, actually. So for a publisher, we would track how many, let me see how to put this properly. We tracked in a CDP what kind of articles you were watching or reading, and in those articles is product placement also, and they were sponsored basically. And if you were more interested in food stuff because you had a score like, hey, in the past 30 days you read 10 food blogs, then next time we would show you more food blogs when you come to the website to increase the page view and to increase the amount of conversions that come out of the links in the blogs. And a second thing that we used it for was to feed that what did you read data into the email campaigns, so that we would tailor email campaigns that go more about food instead of something else to the same persons. But in order to make that work, we needed to, track data on a personal identifiable level. And another example more recently is that we find out for a home furniture supplier that if we would, so we were basically booking appointments for this partner, but we would also give away these lead magnets like brochures and inspiration leaflets. And we saw that when we compared the timestamps of the brochure downloads and deal time, that there were like 180 days, and in between bookings and deal were like 11 or 20 days. I'm not sure by heart, but we managed to increase the amount of booklet and brochure and inspiration downloads massively, to make sure that we feed the conversion funnel with the with the right amount of leads, to know that in 6 months from now we will have those conversions. On top of that, let me think. Yeah, so user acquisition and retention for a B2B service provider. In the first outreach, we would just go to the point, no fluff. We would tell something about regulations, tell them the problem that what would happen if the problem persisted for the company from a regulatory perspective, and then offered to show them for free where they have to work and what to do in order to comply with regulations. And then in the second or third email, we would offer them a webinar, and then for everyone that was added to the list after the webinar took place, we would first send the webinar, also pinpointing the problem, showing what we solved. And then in the fifth or sixth email, I'm not exactly sure about the exact details, we would simply offer them a executive training to make sure that everyone who has the same problem can share his or her experiences with the group of peers. And we did it at a very low, basically a low barrier offer rate. You could pay like a couple of $100, which is, well, very affordable for big IT companies. And this way we would get our foot in the door, so that sales could take it up and sell the bigger project deal based off on that low barrier offer, which we did through email. Max, do we have more questions? All right, awesome. If you haven't scanned the QR code to get your 10% discount on our early birds for the festival, please do so now. In case you forgot it and you want to do it later this week, hit me up and I'll see what I can do for you. If there is, last chance, really no questions, and I'm also looking at the moderator, then I'd like to thank you for your time. And if you do have any questions, please reach out to either me or someone else from the team, and we will do our best to help you out using the templates that we just shared with you. Thank you.